Behind me is the iNdee, an independent film studio that will be available to you, the independent filmmaker, on a tight budget. You'll meet the creative team behind it. Plus,
Independent movie cinema.
IMC, Independent Movie Cinema. Founder George Cochran explains how it will change Hollywood's distribution platform and give your film worldwide exposure. It's all coming up next on Below the Line on Location.
It's Below the Line with George Peroulas. On tonight's show,
Welcome to Below the Line. I'm George Peroulas. We're in the main building of the iNdee today in Gastonia, North Carolina, with the founder. Joining me now is real estate developer, historic preservationist, and host of his own reality show, Nathan Kirby. Nathan, how are you? Thanks for having us here.
Glad to have you here.
Now, the iNdee has created a lot of buzz lately. What is the iNdee, and how did you come up with it?
Well, the iNdee was sort of a brainchild that just came to me one night a few months back, maybe almost 8-9 months ago now. And the idea was basically we're shooting a reality show about historic preservation, and the services and equipment and things were not really readily available for a small company, so we decided we needed to build facilities that other independent filmmakers and production companies could utilize to raise their production value.
Tell me about this building. How long has it been around? It's pretty old.
Yeah, it was built in the 1920s. It was originally the Third National Bank of Gastonia. Over the years, it's turned into multiple types of offices, from attorneys to private eyes to doctors to dentists, insurance agents, pretty much everything. And now it's going to be a production studio with about 100 production offices.
How will you transform it, and what will the renovations include?
The plans are to begin as soon as we raise the capital. Of course, a lot of money needs to go into this thing to make it happen. So when it's complete, we intend for every floor that is used for production offices to have editing bays, have a Foley stage downstairs, have a permanent set on the 7th floor, or permanent multiple sets on the 7th floor. Don't really have room for a really big sound stage here, so we're looking for land outside of town to do that.
Now, you also have a second building across the street, a former bank. What do you have going on there?
Yeah, that building is actually slated to be renovated here this year. It's either going to be residential, or we hope it will be lodging to be used by the iNdee.
Tell me how you began in real estate and preserving older buildings.
I started my career in development, actually flipping single-family homes back in 2003. And after doing that for quite a while, decided that I just liked old buildings. And so my wife and I started researching historic preservation, the tax incentives associated with it, and things that make it, make them commercially viable projects. And just decided to kind of go in full force and pretty much let everything else go.
Throughout your projects, you're working with your wife, Christy. What's it like working with your wife day in and day out, plus you have to go home and deal with home stuff?
It can be stressful. The arguments carry over from home to work, back from work to home. So, it's back and forth. And with 3 kids, 1, 2, and 3 years old, it makes for interesting challenges of their own. And then, my schedule, whether I'm at home or I'm at the office, for example, last night I was up till 4:30 doing paperwork. So, I get very little sleep, so I'm grumpy and cranky, and she tends to be the one that's a little more down to level-headed and keeps me grounded, I guess.
Restoration is your passion. Why?
It's extremely important to preserve the buildings because, unlike Europe, where they have buildings that are very old, our oldest buildings are a few hundred years old. So, we live in a disposable, community or country, if you will. We throw everything away. Nothing's meant to last. Furniture you buy today is torn apart tomorrow. Houses, in a lot of cases, are the same way. We need to save the properties and save the buildings and monuments and things that were built to last. And at the same time, we preserve our heritage and where we came from.
In 2007, you and your wife and business partner, Christy, began documenting the restoration of these projects. How did you guys decide to do that, and what were you restoring back then?
In 2007, we started working on a building called the Groves Cotton Company. It was built in 1904. It was an old cotton brokerage that was attached to or associated with the Groves Cotton Mill. The same family owned it, and so had a lot of history in Gastonia. It was one of the oldest buildings downtown that was still standing. I think it's the second oldest that's still standing. We restored that, turned it into 4 apartments, a restaurant and bar, and the documentation so much different than what we do now for the show. We ran around with flip cameras, and I think the most expensive piece of equipment we had was a JVC UD5 or UD3, $1,200 or something, and we thought it was the greatest show on the planet. Needless to say, we knew nothing about editing, nothing about how to actually shoot a show, but it made for some really cool clips, and some of them got some fairly high numbers on the web. So we decided to keep pushing forward and end up doing a show.
So how did you come up with the idea to turn this experience into a reality show? You have 10 episodes. What's that been like?
Very interesting. Having a camera in your face when you're, having your most candid moments is definitely a little stressful. On construction site, we're not always on our best behavior. So, regularly they're catching me saying something that I would normally not want folks to hear me say. It's a different element, but it's been fun. At the same time, we're able to look back at the whole process, and by having it done as a real show, as opposed to filming with a flip camera where we're walking, carrying ourselves. They're able to catch a lot of things that we may have been on the other side of the site, and something happened, and so we're able to catch that action and things that we didn't before. So it's been a blast.
And you brought a clip of the show. What are you going to show us today?
Well, I showed up on site last season, and we had a guy that left an oxygen valve open while he was torching. Oh no, that's not good. Well, yeah, oxygen's explosive, especially when it's pure, and there's flames around it. So we got a little upset. All right, let's take a look at a scene from The Preservationist.
I found this oxygen tank out here leaking, or they had not closed the valve on it, leaking. We asked the dude if he knows about it. He goes, yeah, it's not a big deal. I'm like, not a big deal. Somebody walks by with a cigarette.
Well, that's down cost of everything too. I mean,
it's just waste.
Blowed up, but it's
been
wasteful. It's been wasteful.
The big issue we've got is the tanks outside aren't secured.
None of the tanks are secured.
If that tank
leaking out there earlier,
that one outside leaking, and then that tank, y'all need to tie the tanks off, man. I mean, this is.
they need to be
if y'all go pulling these cables, and that falls over, y'all are gonna die. The guys inside are gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. It's gonna blow up. If it sparks, yeah, but if it sparks, what happens? It blows up like a bomb.
Wow, that was intense. Are all days like that?
No, I mean, we got lucky. It could have been worse.
All right. Coming up next, you'll meet the other partners in the iNdee and find out what projects they have coming up, film-wise. Stay with us. We're back on location at the iNdee with Nathan Kirby and 2 of his partners in this new venture. Richard Clark Jr. and Ryen Thomas with New Daydream Films have teamed up to bring filmmaking to the next level for iNdee filmmakers. Now, you guys have worked together creating television content that is now seen worldwide, in addition to writing, directing, and producing films. So you know what it's like to make indie film. What has the process of creating indie film been like for you?
It's been a long process, I think is the best way to say it. The industry's changed so much since we started doing what we're doing, so it's really just been spending a lot of time honing our craft, but mainly focusing on the business side of it. To indie doesn't mean unsuccessful. So I guess finding the path to making sure our films are successful and they make money and completing projects and things of that nature. But it's been a long path. It's been a good path, but it's been a long one.
Ryan, and you?
I'll say for me, freedom is the first word that comes to my mind. I'm naturally impatient. There's a lot of things I want to do, a lot of things I want to accomplish, and it just got to the point where I'm tired of waiting for somebody else to hand something out. So I love the fact that I feel free to pursue something, especially with like-minded people like Richard and Nathan here. So the collaboration and freedom is pretty much the biggest impact for me.
So Nathan, what led you to this dynamic duo?
We were shooting the reality show last year, and The Preservationist, and we were looking for some additional crew for the final shoots of the year, and our production accountant actually put us in touch with Ryan, who came in and had some free time at the end of the year to help us shoot, and he did some camera work for us, and he set up a meeting for everybody to sit down, and that's how we met.
And Ryan, what do you think about Nathan's idea for this reality show concept?
Oh, well, I'm a huge fan of, I actually watch a lot of reality television, so this was great. This was a great opportunity. I love Nathan, I love his family, and I just think the best thing about good reality shows are the characters, the family dynamic. And pulling that out with The Preservationist is pretty much the best part of the show for me.
The industry focuses a lot on parody programming, which is why you see Pawn Stars be successful, and then you see Pawn Wars and Perfect Pawn and what I'm sure everything else out there. What The Preservation is able to do some parody programming from multiple different Storage Wars, Flip This House, Extreme Home Makeover, and things like that. So we've been excited. That's kind of one of the first things that we look at when we decide our projects, if it excites us, and The Preservationist definitely does.
Tell me about the partnership here and future plans.
Super excited about the partnership. Nathan's had the brainchild for the indie probably for a year and a half, 2 years now, just to give a place for everybody, but specifically filmmakers and fresh out of college guys who really can't maybe afford the type of setup we're going to have here. So over the next couple months, we've got more and more projects coming into the indie. We're securing more financing, setting up more projects. We probably have a dozen people or so every week that comes in here and asks for some service. So we're trying to just really bring the film community of Charlotte, which for some reason gets a bad rap at times. So we're helping people that have good stories and have good attitudes bring them to the forefront. So we got 3 films coming out this year that'll be coming out under the indie label, just to kind of show people what we're doing. 3 feature films. Got the TV series coming up. We got looking to pitch a show to Showtime in the next month and a half. So we got a lot of really exciting things coming up.
And you hear all this, Nathan, and how does that sound to you? This is what you planned. This is what you thought of. This is what you dreamed of.
Yeah, it was crazy. Had this brainchild, like you said, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, but it couldn't really put a name on it. Couldn't pin it down until a few, like I said earlier, 9 months, 6 months, woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, call it what it is. Call it. Maybe change the spelling, something like that, but it's going to be for indie filmmakers, so or indie creatives, if you will. So just call it what it is. So I'm excited. Certainly, film has a sense of sexy that real estate certainly lacks. So it's a lot more fun and upbeat, and hopefully it'll keep me young. My kids are starting to age me pretty quickly.
It's your real estate that's starting to age you.
It's my real estate starting to age me. Yeah.
Next on Below the Line, once your film is completed, distribution is key to unveiling your creation to the masses. George Cochran has created a vehicle to showcase your film globally. He'll explain how his new company, IMC, will give more independent filmmakers worldwide exposure. Find out how next. Welcome back to Below the Line on Location. The internet continues to change the world, including entertainment. More people choose the computer screen instead of the TV or movie theater screen. Shrinking budgets out of Hollywood has made independent filmmaking bigger than ever. But how will these films get the global exposure they deserve? The answer? IMC. Creator George Cochran is here to explain how it all works. George, how are you? Thanks again for speaking with us. You've been on the show before, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you.
Now, I'm so excited for you to tell our audience about what IMC is. So tell us, what is IMC, and how did you come up with it?
Well, it's been in progress now for about a year and a half. It's all about what's happened in Hollywood is that there's obviously a very close circle. This close circle of major features, hundreds of millions of dollars in production, certainly doesn't assist or help in any way the little guy. So we identified in this niche this opportunity for the little guy to have distribution on a global basis. It isn't going to be in the movie theater like all the blockbusters. It's going to be on every one of the many millions and millions of screens, whether that's an iPhone or whether that's your computers at home. And you'll be able to see hundreds, if not thousands, of films with respect to the little guy, the B-level production, which is the smaller production money in terms of cost to produce. We identified this some number of years ago, but we moved on it about a year and a half, as I mentioned. And what we're looking for is to really raise all the boats so that we can get a wonderful opportunity for the little guy to have distribution. Here's what happens. They go out and they get high expectations in terms of their budgets and how it's going to work and what they're going to do with their concept, and they start producing it. They produce it and with a wonderful energy. And it's full of life and good things, and they're going to produce this stuff, and they end up with the production. They say, well, how am I going to sell it? So they don't have distribution. Then they go crazy trying to figure out how to somebody to send them back a note or a letter other than we're not interested. And it becomes very, very difficult to find distribution. What we've done with IMC is to have that opportunity is now in place. And that's the beginning of a revolution of decentralization away from these epicenters with respect to distribution.
How will filmmakers be able to use this system to be seen worldwide?
Well, how does it work is that the filmmakers would present their films to us. We go through an approval process. We don't do anything which is really negative in terms of pornography or anything of that. We don't do that. We just quality films. We have a reputation of wanting to make the filmmaker and IMC be as positive as we possibly can. And putting that aside for a second, what they do is they submit the film, and we approve it with a board that people look at these films. And we go back to them. They sign a what is called a legal document, which starts us with a relationship of understanding what they're doing. Then what we do is we move forward, we agree on it. There are fees involved, modest fees, very inexpensive. Students, of course, are much, much cheaper than the larger productions. And what we do then, we import these films to the site, and we're going to have different sections broken down with the criteria of what the film is, its content, and what its purpose is, whether it's a feature, documentary, and with subsets of what kind of feature, comedy, this, that, documentaries. And we will revenue share with them. It's not like we're just going to take it, use it, and use them. No, it's a business. It's a business that really cares about the success of the smaller filmmaker.
How will IMC help the independent filmmaker?
Basically, selling their film is really what IMC is about. We also will be able to connect the dots to 220 major distributors on a global basis. They would come through us to them for any kind of negotiation should any one of those distributors be interested in that film.
So people could actually get discovered through this system.
Oh, thank you. Yes, definitely. Yeah. definitely. It's very cool.
Billions of eyeballs around the world watch TV and movies. How can filmmakers around the world be a part of this?
IMC is a global company. We reach every corner. If there's electricity and some form of iPhone or screen, we're there. You know, because it's new, people say, oh, you know, I don't know, I'm not sure. Get over it. Get used to it. Change is very cool.
How will this change the Hollywood distribution model?
The distribution of different forms of films, different kinds of entertainment are going to find their way through these conduits, which is where IMC is placed itself as a venue that allows all the distribution to occur. So is it going to change? I'm sure that in the next 50 years it's going to change immensely, but I don't think it's going to change that much in terms of the theater. Popcorn, I hope, goes down in price, down to at least $6.50, rather than $8 for a bucket. I mean, it's like something like that. Let's hope so, anyway.
Yeah, well, it's still a fun option as well, but we know with the computer and people's iPhones and all sorts of tablets, entertainment is seen everywhere. So people are really excited about watching entertainment on the go. And so people who go through IMC will have a better chance of getting their products out there, and more eyeballs who are also looking for entertainment on the go can see them.
Yeah, well, the whole industry's changed in terms of how you can reach films, and certainly the large film distributors are doing exactly that. But what IMC offers is, again, to say it third time, it's an opportunity for the little guy. Who would never have that kind of time. It doesn't exist. So you say, how do I get my film distributed? Talk to us. We get it globally. And then somebody might find it. And somebody would say, oh my goodness, what a wonderful, fabulous film. Where did that come from? Can we buy it for 47 cents? And they come to talk to us, and we say, well, no, it's more like another number which has a lot more zeros attached to it, and we would help negotiate. We would definitely help negotiate for that filmmaker. It's part of our responsibility to keep it as professional as we possibly can. Yeah.
So it's a two-way street. It's a business relationship to help these people get their movies out there.
Absolutely, that's what we want to do. Thank you.
So how can people get involved?
We have all kinds of contact information. We're going to be very available. Our website will be easily navigatable, and there'll be contact information right there so that you can reach us. And we're on Facebook, and we're everywhere. If you find the independent movie cinema written out, which is a mouthful, but IMC is easy to say, and we're very easily reached, yes.
Well, George, thank you so much. We're so excited about IMC, and thank you for explaining it today.
Oh, well, thank you.
All right,
George.
very good.
Okay.
We're back in a moment. Stay with us. Thanks again to everyone at the iNdee and to George Cochran, and thank you for watching. Please contact us with your questions, comments, and show ideas. The email address is belowtheline21@gmail.com, and join our fan page on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
For more information, comments, or questions about the show, email us at belowtheline21@gmail.com.